Hello, dosto. My name is Deepak, and today I'm going to talk to you about an extremely important subject matter today, which is tariffs. Not tariff, tariffs. Now, you might say, well, what's so important about tariffs? We've been hearing about tariffs since, December? And now here we are in August. You want to talk to us about tariffs? Yes. It's important because I don't think this particular subject matter is getting enough attention on any news media. I don't think if I were to ask majority of you once I present the case to you, I think most of you will probably say, we didn't know that. And it's so important that everybody understand that, because if you don't know this, it can have catastrophic impact on your finances. Now, it's not a clickbait. I know sometimes I watch these videos and they try to make it like such a big deal, but then there's nothing there. But I mean, I don't do that kind of stuff. When I see something serious enough, that's when I make these videos. Now, normally I share this information only in our private coaching program. And there's a reason for that, because those people pay annual fees. So it makes sense that I pay more attention to them. So I hope you guys are okay with that. But sometimes some information is so important that I think it should be shared with everyone, because it can hurt a lot of people. If people in my coaching program, they make a little extra money than other people, that's okay, right? But if I withhold some information that can hurt a lot of people, I think that would be bad on me, right? So today was a great day. It was a wonderful day. Portfolio was really green. I think in the morning when I looked at my app, it was like 6% up. I think by the end of the day, it's 3%. So still 3% in one day, I'll take it. Not bad at all. So I'm loving the market, and we should enjoy it for as long as it lasts. But we don't want to become complacent in it. We don't want to make mistakes that can come back and hurt us. So we better be prepared. So that's what I'm going to talk about. But before I do, let me remind everyone that I'm not an investment advisor. I don't give you an investment advice whatsoever. In matter of fact, I don't want you to even make a decision or trust me in any way after hearing this video. I want you to go take the information I give you and then do your own research and decide what you want to do with it. So that would be my suggestion to you. And if you are not already part of my WhatsApp discussion group, then reach out to me and send me a request that, hey, Deepak, I would like to join the free discussion group. Or if you want to learn more about coaching program, you can certainly reach out to me for that as well. And as a reminder, by the way, the Wealth Summit this year is going to be November 16th in November, so only a few months out. If you register for that before the end of August, I'll also give you a free planner. I shouldn't really say I'll give you a free planner, because if I can get 200-300 tickets sold this month, which is a big number considering we only got a couple of weeks left, then I can order it. But if people book ticket, I mean, Wealth Summit gets sold out every single year, but what happens is a lot of people book it like in October and November. My problem is if I wait that long, then I don't have enough time to get the printing done. And this is like, I have to order probably about 1,000 books. They're really big. They're about 70 pages long, beautiful. They got your workout planner. They got your finance planner. They got your habit planner. They got your, monthly goals, yearly goals, weekly goals, financial mistakes, key trends you want to pay attention to, important highlights you want to keep track of, mistakes that you've been making in your financial world. It's like your entire journey for the entire year. So it's nothing like that what you see on online and stuff like that. So it's really, really powerful. Maybe retail value $50-$60. So please help me out. If you're planning on coming to Wealth Summit, you want this planner registered now, so that way I can order it. But after September, it's become so difficult. I won't be able to get it delivered on time. All right, coming back to tariffs. So for the last 12 months through July, not August, custom duties are now sitting at $157 billion. Okay. Now, President Trump's goal is that we should charge baseline tariff of anywhere between 10 to 15%, and maybe some other reciprocal tariffs here and there. But the industry people are saying that, most likely we're going to end up maybe about 13% tariff on average. So let's just say everything becomes expensive by 13%. That's a one-time thing, right? After that, that's it. It's one-time thing. And we move on with our life. And tariffs, we're done. That's the worst case scenario. That's what analysts are expecting. So it's not really that big of a deal for most people. Now, President Trump is saying that tariffs can bring in roughly about 500, $600 billion annually. I know sometimes he says higher numbers like trillions of dollars or something like that, but I'm going to ignore them. In realistically, he said, sometimes, most likely they can bring about $500 billion. Which is a lot of money, by the way. I mean, $500 billion, let me actually, okay. So over the past 12 months, the deficit is now sitting at $1.9 trillion. If we take a look at the last 6 months, we're at an annual run rate of about 1.5 trillion. So we're not going to hit, well, maybe we hit 1.9, who knows. But right now, looks like we're going to hit 1.5. So maybe they get accelerated going forward. Now, if we take a look at the, federal revenue, that is $5.2 trillion for the last year. Now, where does the revenue comes from right now? Well, mostly from individual income and payroll taxes. That's most of it. Individual means, business, individual, payroll, basically taxes that we pay. The question is, can we really, would $500 billion make that big of an impact? It's a lot of money, but when we talk about, $5.2 trillion of revenue, I mean, 500 billion, is that even really that much of a relevant? And I say this because administration have said to us many times, or at least the argument they have made, is that with these tariffs, we can eliminate charging income tax and we can move on to an external revenue system or revenue services and just survive on tariffs. I think most people are realizing that is just not possible. It's not practical. I mean, I would love it to be zero income taxes, right? I would love it to be zero income taxes, but it's not practical. I don't see how that is going to happen. Okay, but that's the argument President has given that why he's implementing tariffs, right? He wants to get rid of income. At least that's the way he sold it to us, to the taxpayers. Now, some taxpayers, small business owners, probably got really upset and they say, wait a minute, this is not fair to us. The big guys, they get a lot of advantages. They get these better tax treatment. They have access to a lot of money. They just have so much access that, even if the tariffs goes up by 10, 15%, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference to them. But small business can get hurt a lot, right? Sounds like a reasonable argument. But anyhow, they make long story short, this case of tariffs ended up in court. So you guys know it is in court right now. On July 31st, there were oral arguments. So in the oral arguments, Trump administration presented their case. The problem is that the judges actually pressed really hard that, hey, explain to us one more time, why are these tariffs legal again? Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to us. Anyhow, everybody went home, all nice and good. And then a week later, Trump administration says, you know what, let's send a letter. Let's send a letter to the government. Why? Because, the default policy for Trump is, President Trump is that let's go to Supreme Court because he feels that Supreme Court can settle things faster. And I'm pretty sure he feels that it will be in his favor. But the problem is, if all the judges in the appeals court right now, if all of them are against President Trump, it will be very hard for that case to go to Supreme Court. And Supreme Court most likely will not accept it because all the judges are against it. So he needs to at least get some people to agree with him. Now, you may say, well, I'm sure he did a good job, right? His attorneys are great and he probably did a great job in the oral arguments. The problem is, a week later, a Trump administration sent him a letter. And the fact that he sent him a letter is getting a lot of people worried. They're saying, like, why are you sending him a letter? If your arguments were good enough in the court, then why are you submitting this additional letter? United States, how things go. So that's number one. Like, the fact the administration submitted the letter tells that these tariffs are not legal, okay? Or at least he feels that his case is not as strong as it should be. So that's point number one. Point number two is what was written in the letter, right? So I would strongly suggest you to go online and read the letter yourself so you kind of get an idea as to what's going on. But I'm going to give you some key highlights, at least the way I interpreted it. I'm not an attorney, so certainly don't count on me. Just assume what I'm saying is wrong and go do your own due diligence. But there are some very important things you want to research. So the administration is saying that if judges decide that these tariffs were illegal, then that can be really bad for the country. Not for the administration, not for President Trump, but for the country. Now, here is why. He said, look, if you were to put if you said, these tariffs are illegal, this is going to put our national security in jeopardy. So that's number one. Number two, it can impact our foreign policy. And three, and this is what scares me a little bit, it can hurt our economy. So how is that? According to the administration, if these tariffs, now these are not my words, this is the administration is saying, right? So if these tariffs were to be illegal, or the courts decided to be illegal, that can possibly get us in really bad market crash. Why? Because we won't be able to pay the funds back to the other countries. Number two, foreign governments, they may say, hey, you know what? There's no reason for us to do these trade agreements, and they might back off. And if those governments or companies come back to the United States, they're like, look, we have already paid all this money. Remember that $157 billion of duties that's already been collected? Give us back. Like, I don't have that money. I don't know how I'm going to give them the money. So A, I already took the money. I can't give the money back. Number two, I have put all this pressure on these countries to come into, give us some concessions and get into trade agreements, and these countries can just simply walk off. And number three, once the general public learns about this, they are just going to sell, and we'll be in big market crash. So it's really bad for us. So because of those reasons, just don't touch the tariffs. Just let them the way it is. Now, I personally speaking, I think all of that is over exaggeration. I don't think it's going to be that bad, because think about it. All the countries, they want to have good relationship with the United States. Why would you not want to have good relationship with the United States? We are one of the best countries in the world. We have a great economy. We have a wonderful brain power. We have a lot of innovation. We are, I don't know. I mean, like, what would be better, right? I know some of you guys are like, well, we can give you 50 other reasons why that would be bad. But, if you look at it from my point of view, I see it and I'm like, why would the rest of the world would not want to do a good agreement with us? So I don't think it's going to be that bad. Yeah, would people negotiate hard? Sure. Would we maybe miss out on some concession? Sure. Maybe we don't have a 15% tariff. Maybe we end up with 7% tariff. Sure. All of that is possible, but I don't think it's going to be as bad. That's my opinion. Right. Number two, would market crash because there are no tariffs? I don't think so. In matter of fact, I see it the other way around. I think if there are no tariffs, market will be more excited that the margins are going to improve, business is going to improve. In matter of fact, I think the market will jump up if there were no tariffs. So that doesn't really make any sense to me either. Now, government refunding the money because they don't have the money. Okay, well, I guess they would have to print more. I mean, that's the only thing they can do, right? That's my take on that. So I don't want to scare you guys. I'm just saying this is what's happening in the market. So we should be aware of that. We should, pay attention to that, what's happening with that. And then we kind of go from there. In matter of fact, I think for the most part, when I talk to people, people don't expect this tariff issue to be as big of an issue as people have made it to be. And I have given a lot of arguments about that in our discussion calls many times previously. Now, yeah, it is more tariff than what it used to be. Are consumers probably paying some of it? Absolutely, yeah. But then at the same time, we have, the benefits coming from the new tax bill that's going to do a lot of offset. Then if the markets do really well, that's going to help offset. The real question here, I think, is jobs. That's what matters. Can we have more jobs? Can we have more employment? Can we have better pay raises? That's what's important. I think that's where we should be really focused on. All this political stuff, sooner or later, it will get settled. That's my personal point of view, but this is what's happening out there. So let's keep an eye out on it, and I'll come back to you guys and share more details when that is when that is out. At this point, as we guys already know, I think everybody is expecting a rate cut now in September. So maybe in a day or two, we're going to find out, or at least people are going to ask Mr. Powell this question: hey, are you going to give us a rate cut in September or not? If he says yes, we are planning on giving, or at least gives a direction that we're planning on cutting rates, I think this market will rally on that news, and then we'll go from there. So that's my take on things right now. I did promise you that I'm going to make a video on Duolingo. I've been trying to find some time, but it's just been a busy day. But I think now I got few minutes, so maybe I'll make that video next and I'll share that with you guys. So once again, guys, thank you so much for spending your last 15-20 minutes with me. Please do reach out to me if you're not part of WhatsApp group and you would like to join it. And if you're planning on coming to the Wealth Summit, then please let me know so I can, you can book those tickets and I can put you on that free planner. Again, planner is not promised, not guaranteed. Only if I get enough people to register this month, then I can order it in advance. Otherwise, I can't. It's a lot of expense on my end. It takes a lot of work. So all you got to do is, hey, Deepak, yeah, let's book the ticket so that way I can order it just in time. So again, once again, guys, thank you so much for spending your last 15-20 minutes with you. I hope you find this information helpful, and you know how to reach me if you guys need my help. Thank you.